Azure SQL Database with Entity Framework Code CRUD operations. So what we are going to do and why? So we will move our application's data storage from local SQL server to Azure SQL Database and access it using our Entity Framework Code from our Azure App Service API. So why Azure SQL Database exists? So think SQL Server without installing the SQL Server. So Azure manages our OS, SQL installation, backup. So everything we are going to move in our cloud. So real world problem here is this solves like old way we will install our SQL, manage our disk, take backups, handles failover. But when we are using this Azure SQL service, so it will create DB in 2 minutes. It will do the auto backups and do the scale, downscale. So it will do anytime automatically. So what exactly it will do in this POC? So first we are going to create a Azure SQL database. And then we are going to create a SQL server, logical server, create SQL database, choose the basic DTU based tier, and this gives us the server name, DB name, so it gives the username, password, connection string, everything. And step 2, connect this .NET application to Azure SQL. So we will use this entity framework code, configure connection strings, point it to our SQL, Azure SQL. And in the step 3, we will create a simple table. We will create a product table with ID, name, price columns. And then we will go with the step 4, like we will create one controller with the get, put, post, delete, like those operations. We will create our endpoints and then we will test that locally and as well as on Azure. So first I will test that in my local and then Azure SQL and deploy the API to Azure App Service again after updating the codes and testing the API via our Azure URL. So from this video we will learn our concepts, something like firewall rules like Azure SQL blocks the access by default. We will allow Azure services like restricting our IP addresses and pricing concepts. Azure SQL pricing depends on our CPU, storage, performance and all. And for learning, we will use the basic free tier equivalent, very low cost on tier, and then we will use real-time scenarios like where this is used, like so like in backend API we will use for our user data, product data, and the enterprises level like HR system, finance systems, and in SaaS products like multi-tenant DB, centralized storage. These places, these are useful. In my existing project I have updated few things. So first I updated model. I created a model product.ts with the required columns, and then I created app DbContext, and then I created controller, products controller. So there I have endpoints like get, put, post, delete, like those endpoint I created for the products. And I updated program.cs, added our using statements, register our app application DbContext, those things. And I updated app settings.json, like providing our connection strings. So this is for my local. First I initially I given my local and given my database name, and I installed the required NuGet packages. So entity framework SQL, entity framework tools, like those things I have added. In next step we need to create this DB migrations. I need to initiate the migration and then we need to update the database. And these are the code changes: installed NuGet package, created models, and created application DbContext, and updated the connection string in app settings. In program.cs I have given this connection string, the app registered our app DbContext. This is the product controller. I started my migrations and I given the database update command now. It will succeed. Let's see our database now. It's created the database here. Now open your Azure portal and find the Azure SQL service. Azure SQL service, not Azure SQL database. Now select the Azure SQL database in left side, click SQL databases and click create SQL database free tier. In this page, scroll down here in the server, click create new. On that page, so provide your server name, select any region, and then in the authentication, I selected SQL authentication. Fill your admin name and you can set your password and then click OK. On the next screen, you will see like this and it will show the billing cost. Now it's free tier. Then click review plus create. You can review your credential configurations, those things here, and then click create. Now deployment is completed. You can check the statuses here. Now let's verify our SQL database. Click Azure SQL and click our SQL databases, and here click your database. Once you open your database, you will see a section like networking. So networking settings. Open your networking tab and scroll down. Click the firewall rules. Add your client IP address, because here we saw the default option was selected networks. Public network access we are not giving to all networks, so we are giving to the selected networks. Connections from the IP addresses configured in the firewall rules section below will have the access to this database. By default, no public access address are allowed. Add your client IP address. So once you click it, Azure will automatically select your default. You no need to enter it manually. Then click save. I tested that in my local. First I created product, then I try to retrieve the products. Then we need to update the connection string with our Azure SQL Connect. We need to publish our application like this. I have used .NET publish, release publish. Once it published, we have to come inside this publish folder in our project. Then we need to select all the files and we need to zip the file. Then we need to click app service. Then we need to go to the deployment center and we need to select the publish files as new, and we need to select the zip file again. I have already uploaded again. So even if it is renamed or anything, that's fine. It will just replace that existing one. Then we need to update the connection string. So for that, click the settings, configuration. So inside that, we need to click the settings and open environment variables. Then come to connection string, click add. Then we need to add our name, value, the connection string, and the type SQL Azure. Then click apply. So it will come outside. Then click again apply. Save changes. Your app may restart if you are updating connection strings. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes, confirm. After doing that, I tried to access my products endpoint, but it's showing 500 error. Let me try to restart it. Restart not work. There might be another issue in Azure SQL. The firewall may be blocking that. I connected the Azure DB in my local and I saw that database tables, there is no tables available yet. So I am running .NET database update command from my local. Because my app settings was connected to Azure SQL, it's updated. Let me try refresh here. Now it's came here. Now later I am going to retry this post creation, this product creation here. Yes, I think now it's working. Let's try get endpoint for products. Yes, now it's working. Even it's working in browser. That's great. So this confirms this all. Azure app is running, entity framework code key is working, Azure SQL connection is correct, firewall working, migrations applied, and the data was coming from Azure SQL, not using our local SQL. This is exactly how production APIs works. So until this, we have learned Azure SQL, a model like how to create Azure SQL database and app service, how to configure this app service like production reality, app settings for local, and app service configuration, connection, and redeployments, and what are that. So some errors we have fixed, 404, 500 error, so DB was not reachable, tables missing. Those issues we have fixed, and we have fixed the migrations and firewall was fixed.